Your Highness, I have one more property for you to look at. I think you'll like this one. Oh, come on! We've been looking for days. Scotty's castle was far too hot. Sleeping Beauty's castle, I would not get any work done in. It's far too tiring. The magic castle, we couldn't even get into because we're not magicians. I knew we should have brought Merlin. Damn it. For being the Golden State, there's really not a lot of castles fit for a queen. Here we are, madam. Oh my. The architecture. It's a little on the small side, and there's not a whole lot of subjects to rule over. It's that strange little houses. I want to know more. Oh wow, look at that lake. It's so vast. Hear ye, hear ye. Does anyone have information about this grand castle? I do. My name is Cheyenne Blue. I'm a real estate agent with Country Air Properties, and though it looks like a castle, that was not what it was built for. Let's talk about it today. Oh, drats! It's not a castle. I guess we gotta keep looking. Maybe we can listen to the story, Your Highness? Well, I guess I am tired after this long, tedious journey looking at all these castles. I could use a break. I was the one pulling the cart? Who asked you? It's not like I weigh a ton anyway. Let's get into this, shall we? But before we do, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you would like to see more videos like this. Who is she talking to? It all started in the 1920s. The Clear Lake Beach Company bought the property from Frank Henry in order to start Lucerne. Yeah, not just the castle itself, but all of Lucerne. The property the company bought lied between the Morrisons and George Pierce property. George Pierce was an interesting character, to say the least. He was kicked out of an Eastern college, and because of this, the family made him the black sheep and casted him out. But they did it with pay. Who was his family? He was the second cousin to Henry Ford. That's right, the guy that built Ford. That was his second cousin, so family had a lot of money. But knowing what I'm going to tell you here in a second, I have a feeling there was more to it than that he just got kicked out of college, and I'm intrigued at what he got kicked out of college for. They don't state it, but I'm really, really curious what he got kicked out of college for. George homesteaded just east of Lucerne proper. He had a public or semi-public road that ended just at where his property started. This guy really did not want anyone on his property. If you guys are animal lovers or you're sensitive to death or anything like that, I really, really advise you to skip this next piece. It's not in crazy detail or anything, but I know some people can get triggered. To keep people out, he would kill animals such as chickens and varmints, and he would hang them on the gate and on the fences so that way people wouldn't try to crawl over onto his property. I mean, you see that kind of stuff, of course you're not going to go onto that property because that's a little scary. On top of this, he lived alone. He didn't have any children, didn't have a wife, and the rest of his family abandoned him. He died alone in 1930, and besides that, there's really not much other information on this guy. He did try to protest Highway 20 being put in, but it didn't come to anything. I really want to know, because I feel like there's more to this guy than just this. If anyone knows more about George Pierce, please let me know. I really, really am intrigued. After George Pierce died, his property was subdivided and turned into the lakeshore and many, many beautiful homes. Now on to the castle itself. The Hotel Corporation was started by Richard Palmer and Louis Becker. Both were big, big investors in the Clear Lake Beach Company, the company that bought the plot of land. They started selling stock for the hotel in 1925. Construction started in 1926 with Frank R. Phillips of Lakeport as the contractor. These guys had big plans. Hi, Cypher. Somebody decided that he wants to be in the video, so here he is. He's a good boy. Who's my good boy? Oh, my good boy. So he's going to be on my lap, so if you hear the jingle jingle, that's Cypher. These guys had big plans for Lucerne. It was supposed to be a luxury getaway. there were plans for high-end boutiques, a golf course, restaurants, and much, much more. They promoted this getaway and got a lot of investors because of it. There was just so much to this area, and I know Lucerne is a little bit different now, but put yourself in their shoes. Back then, when there really wasn't any buildings in Lucerne, it was just vast greenery, this beautiful large lake unlike anything most people had ever seen before. They were building this grand castle-like hotel in an area where you really don't see castles at all. That's why Her Majesty mentioned the different castles that they had seen. There really aren't a whole lot on this side of the States, or really a whole lot in the States in general. And not only did you have this grand castle, it just had such a majestic feel behind it because of these aspects. I mean, even without all that stuff, the castle really is a grand, majestic piece of architecture, so I really can't even imagine what it must have been like getting to be there in person and see it. Like, it kind of gives me the magical forest type of vibes. What's even crazier is that Becker had an airplane which he would fly potential clients and investors around the lake to see the true beauty of the lake. This is in the 1920s. This did not happen back then. So you had the magical aspect of the castle, this gorgeous, amazing lake, the mountains, the trees, and airplane rides. Come on, this was amazing. It was an amazing idea that these guys had, and they were doing everything they could to really make this dream come alive. Now, while construction was going, the company was hit with two very major blows. October of 1929, the Great Depression hit. Because of this, many investors pulled their funding, and they had a very hard time getting any more investors to invest into this place. These guys kept promoting, kept going with their vision to bring this dream to life. They were trying really, really hard to get this thing up off the ground. But work halted on the project, and the Cruikshank Company put a $87,000 lien on the property, which in today's standards that would be $1,382,000 roughly. And that was just for construction supplies, not the labor, but specifically the construction supplies. One tragic day in 1931, Becker was taking a client for an airplane ride over the lake, routine thing, and the plane crashed. And in it, all of them died. Palmer did his best to keep the dream alive, and he kept the company going until 1934, when he eventually had to file for bankruptcy. The Cruikshank Company took over because of the lien. They took control of the property and continued doing development on the property themselves. The owner of the Cruikshank Company, Mr. West, completed the hotel in 1938 and opened it briefly, but then it closed the next year. And around that time, West also sold out of the property. The new owners opened it briefly and it closed again. In 1944, Dr. Hammer and some other parties purchased the property in order to open up an Adventist hospital. However, the other parties ended up backing out of the deal, and Dr. Hammer stayed with the property, but he ended up eventually selling the property as well. In the early 1950s, the Northern California Baptist Association purchased the property from Dr. Hammer, but not the golf course. They opened the hotel until 1955, to which it was of course closed down again. In 1968, the San Francisco church bought the hotel and used it as a Christian retreat and for youth camps. But the economic downturn led to a decrease in the number of church organizations wishing to rent the facility. The hotel was sold and resold and opened and closed after short periods of time, but it always went back to the Baptists for the debt. The golf course was sold to others and subdivided in order to make homes, which is why if you notice that some of the names seem kind of weird and seem like it belongs on a golf course, that is why. It used to be a golf course and they changed it to become a residential area. In 2009, it was put up for sale once again, but no serious buyer emerged. The property was listed at $3.1 million. Later it dropped to $2.79 million, and the county, Lake County, offered $1.35 million, to which the church accepted. The county authorized $150,000 in redevelopment funds to purchase small adjacent lots that were part of the overall property originally. They also funded for the appraisal of the building itself. I'm not sure what that appraisal turned out to be. I wasn't able to find it. The reason why the county wanted to buy the landmark is so they could have total control over who would be inhabiting the landmark and what they would be doing with it. In 2012, the castle had a new life to it. Lake County's first and only four-year university, Marymount University, first university so far, they entered into a 15-year lease with Lake County. But the university up and left abruptly in June 2017, and no one's really certain as to why exactly that happened. Lake County ended up putting the property back up for sale against many, many community members saying, please don't do this. They put it back up for sale, and it sold in February 2019 for $2.5 million. Who'd they sell it to? The Romero Institute, headquartered in Santa Cruz. And with a quick Google search, I found their website, and I'm going to read it here right now. 50 years on the front lines for justice through public education, grassroots organizing, litigation, and high-impact public policy, the Romero Institute creates just solutions to the climate emergency and humanitarian crisis. A nonprofit law and public policy center based in Santa Cruz, California, we expose structural injustice, support frontline communities, and take fast and effective action to safeguard the well-being of our human family. The proposal that was submitted to the county is for another college called the Peregrine College. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. According to the proposal selected by the county, New Peregrine College will establish a permanent four-year accredited educational institution pioneering Bachelor's of Arts programs and integrative global studies, an accredited university extension program offering extension courses, certificate granting, and degree completion programs, in addition to operating an event and conference center. That's reading it directly off of what information is available about the proposal. The proposal states that a dedicated project funder stands ready to provide the funding for purchase and renovation of the Lucerne Castle as the campus for the new Peregrine College, and that renovations will begin upon the close of escrow. Since the close of escrow on the last buyers, there hasn't really been any public updates on it that I can find. But it does seem like there's been a little bit of action around there just from me going by the property when I'm going out and previewing property or meeting people for listing appointments. But will this be another short-lived business, or will this one actually take off and be the life of this building? How is it that this magnificent hotel has gone through so many hands and so many businesses seize after a short period of time? I mean, even a college just going poof? How does that make any sense? What do you think's going to happen? Please comment below on what your theories are for this place. Do you think maybe it's haunted by the old neighbor that doesn't like people around? I mean, that's my theory. Not really, but I mean, it would make sense, right? I do really hope to see this place become what it's supposed to be, because it could just be that they haven't found the right business to stay for years to come. That's all that we have today on this story, and I hope you liked it. Please like and subscribe for more, and until next time, have a good one.